कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यां नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमो पङ्कजनाभाय नमो पङ्कजमालिने नमो पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्ग्रये। पाहि पाहि महायोगेन देवदेव जगत्पते नान्यं त्वादभयं पश्ये यत्र मृत्यु परस्परं। कृष्ण कृष्ण महाबाहो भक्तानामभयङ्करा त्वमेको दह्यमानानाम् अपवर्गोऽसि संश्रुतेः। ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामीन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरदुषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। गुरवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय धरालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरून् दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यमीश्वरं। हरिः ओं तत्सत्। गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तरालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। आराध्य भगवान् रजेश तनया तद्धाम वृन्दावनम् रम्या काचिदुपासना व्रजवधू वर्गेण वा कल्पिता श्रीमद्भागवतं प्रमाणममलं प्रेम पुमर्तो महान् श्रीचैतन्यमहाप्रभोर्मतमिदं तत्र धरनापुरा अयि दीनदयाद्रनाथ है मथुरानाथ कदा अवलोक्यसे हृदयं त्वदलोककातरम् दैत्यभ्राम्यति किं करोम्यहम् हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम हरे राम राम हरे 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 Shri. Thank you very much for joining in for our Krishna book study today. Today is the most auspicious occasion of Krishna Madhura Utsava. So today it is said that we need to offer kheer to their lordships. Outside the balcony, we can keep it in the night. And also today is the most auspicious occasion of Narottam Das Thakur appearance day. Right? Narottam Das Thakur has written so many wonderful Vaishnava bhajans. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Karo More Toma Bina Ke Doyalu Jagata Samsare. So many bhajans glorifying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then he is also written Hari Hari Bifale Janam Gunainu. And then he's written Radha Krishna Prana Mura Yugala Kishore. Like that, he's written so many wonderful songs. Like in the morning during Brahma Murta time, we were discussing how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself had kept Krishna Prema for Haridas Thakur, for Narottam Das Thakur, even before Narottam Das Thakur appeared. Right? So in that way, Narottam Das Thakur is a very, very pure devotee of the Lord, very, very blessed by the Lord, right? Because the songs written by Narottam Das Thakur actually explain the entire Krishna consciousness philosophy like that. So, very wonderful day today. So let us continue with the study of Krishna book, right? On the auspicious occasion of the Avirbhav Tithi or the appearance day of Srila Narottam Das Thakur. And thank you all devotees for joining in a little earlier than normal. So we are planning to have it at 12 o'clock going forward, but let's see how it works out. So we were in the last week when we were doing the Krishna book study on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We saw how the Rajasuya Yajna has been completed with Yudhishthira Maharaj after Krishna killed Jarasandha. Right? And during the Rajasuya Yajna, Krishna also killed Shishupal. Right? We were talking about how when we blaspheme the devotees or the Lord, then we are calling our own end. We were talking about the good dog and the bad dog in our heart. The good dog is to follow the regulative principles, to follow the Guru, Shastra and Sadhu. And bad dog is to follow our mind, to do whatever the mind dictates, like that, right? And when we follow the dictation of the mind, we are bound to be planning for our own downfall. But when we follow the instructions of our gurus, when we follow the instructions of Guru, Shastra and Sadhu, then we will progress in our spiritual life, right? So we are continuing with these chapters where Krishna is killing the demons, right? Shishupal, Dantavakra, Viduratha, Romaharshana, they are all very angry. Why? Because Lord Shri Krishna killed Shishupal. So all of these are his friends, Dantavakra, Viduratha, Romaharshana, right? So all of them are friends of Shishupal, and they wanted to kill Krishna, right? Because Krishna has killed them, right? This is because they don't understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Rake Krishna mare Krishna rake ke. Right? Krishna wants to protect someone, nobody can protect them. And if Krishna wants to protect them, nobody can kill them. So that is the ultimate protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in this chapter number 78, we're going to study about the killing of Dantavakra, Viduratha and Romaharshana. So devotees would like to read, can raise your hands, and then we'll continue. First, let me start. Okay, I see so many hands up now. Okay. Anusha Mataji, go ahead. And then Karpavalli Mataji, and then Sarvagopeshwari Mataji can read. Yes, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada.
Yes, ma'am.
The killing of Dantavakra, Viduratha and Romaharshana. After the demise of Shishupala, Shalva, and Poundraka, a foolish demoniac king of the name Dantavakra wanted to kill Krishna to avenge the death of his friend Shalva. He became so agitated that he appeared on the battlefield without the proper arms and ammunition and without even a chariot. His only weapon was his great anger, which was red hot. He carried only a club in his hand, but he was so powerful that when he moved, everyone felt the earth tremble. When Lord Krishna saw him approaching in a very heroic mood, he immediately got down from his chariot, for it was a rule of military etiquette that fighting should take place only between equals. Knowing that Dantavakra was alone and armed with only a club, Lord Krishna responded similarly and prepared himself by taking his club in his hand. When Krishna appeared before him, Dantavakra's heroic march was immediately stopped, just as the great furious waves of the ocean are stopped by the beach. At that time, Dantavakra, who was the king of Karusha, stood firmly with his club and spoke to Lord Krishna as follows. It is a great pleasure and fortunate opportunity, Krishna, that we are seeing each other face to face. My dear Krishna, after all, you are my maternal cousin, and I should not kill you in this way. But unfortunately, you have committed a great mistake by killing my friend Shalva. Moreover, you are not satisfied by killing any friend. I know that you want to kill me also. Because of your determination, I must kill you by tearing you to pieces with my club. Krishna, although you are my relative, you are foolish. You are our greatest enemy, so I must kill you today, just as a person removes a boil on his body by a surgical operation. I am always very much obliged to my friends, and I therefore consider myself indebted to my friend Shalva. I can liquidate my indebtedness to him only by killing you. As the caretaker of an elephant tries to control the animal by striking it with his trident, Dantavakra tried to control Krishna simply by speaking strong words. After finishing his vituperation, he struck Krishna on the head with his club and made a roaring sound like a lion. But Krishna, although struck strongly by the club of Dantavakra, did not move even an inch, nor did he feel any pain. Taking his Kaumodaki club and moving very skillfully, Krishna struck Dantavakra's chest so fiercely that Dantavakra's heart split in twain. As a result, Dantavakra began to vomit blood. His hair scattered and he fell to the ground, spreading his hands and legs. Within only a few minutes, all that remained of Dantavakra was a dead body on the ground. After the death of Dantavakra, just as at the time of Shishupala's death, in the presence of all the persons standing there, a small particle of spiritual effulgence came out of the demon's body and very wonderfully merged into the body of Lord Krishna.
Hare
Shall I
Krishna.
go?
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
So we see here that even Dantavakra, he had the fortune of getting killed by Krishna. Getting killed by Krishna means that you're getting either Sayujya Mukti or Sarupya Mukti, right? But most of the cases, most of the times, the demons get Sayujya Mukti. That means we see that his body got merged into the body of Lord Sri Krishna. That means he gained Brahman realization, right? That much only he gained, right? Otherwise, if he had been favorably rendering service to the Lord, then we would get one of the higher, the like Sarupya Mukti or Salokya Mukti or Sarshti Mukti or Sarupya Mukti, right? Where you go and get the opportunity to also to serve the Lord. But because he was inimical to the Lord, he only got this this liberation of being getting merged with the Lord, right? But we all know that we are all Anandamaya Abhyasat. We are all wanting to get pleasure. So this merging with the Lord does not give us any pleasure. It at most gives us only Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na Shochati na Kankshati. It can at most bring us to the platform of no lamentation and no hankering, right? But that is only zero axis, right? Because we don't feel any emotions, but we cannot stay like that, right? As Jiva, we are all part and parcel to the Lord and we have the emotions, right? If we don't experience happiness, if we don't experience bliss, then we are so much searching for it, right? That is why Prabhupada explains in one of his lectures that those who even attain the Brahman platform, right, because they are not satisfied with being there, what do? They fall down. And then what do? They do philanthropic activities, right? Like opening hospitals, like opening temples, etc., where they have this reciprocation with the people whom they are helping. Because loving reciprocation is the need of the soul, is the need of the jiva. So Brahman, merging into the Brahman does not give that loving reciprocation. And hence the jiva is not satisfied by merely merging with the Lord. And that's what happened with Dantavakra. Okay, now next rule read Sarvagopeshwari Mataji. Go ahead, and then Karpagavali Mataji can read. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Dantavakra had a brother from there. Yes,
Danta Pranam Mataji. Dantavakra had a brother named Vidurata who was overwhelmed with grief at Dantavakra's death. Out of grief and anger, Vidurata was breathing heavily, very heavily. And just to aggravate the death of his brother, he appeared before Lord Krishna with a sword and a shield in his hands. He wanted to kill Krishna immediately. When Lord Krishna understood that Vidurata was looking for the opportunity to strike him with his sword, he employed his Sudarshan Chakra, his razor-sharp disc, and without delay cut off Vidura's head with his helmet and earrings. In this way, after killing Salva and destroying his wonderful airplane, and then killing Dantavakra and Vidurata, Lord Krishna at last entered the city Dwaraka. It would not have been possible for anyone but Krishna to kill the great heroes, and therefore all the demigods from heaven and the human beings on the surface of the globe were glorifying him. Great sages and ascetics, the denizens of the Siddha and the Gandharva planets, the denizens known as Vidyadharas, Vasaki, and the Mahanagas, and the beautiful angels, inhabitants of Pitruloka, the Yakshas, the Kinnaras, and the Charanas, all showered flowers upon him and sang songs of his victory in great jubilation. Decorating the entire city very festively, the citizens of Dwaraka held a great celebration. And when Lord Krishna passed through the city, all the members of the Krishna dynasty and the heroes of the Yadu dynasty followed him with great respect. These are some of the transcendental pastimes of Lord Krishna, the master of all mystic power and the lord of all cosmic manifestations. Those who are fools, who are like animals, sometimes think that Krishna is defeated, but actually he is the supreme personality of Godhead and no one can defeat him. He always remains victorious over everyone. He alone is God and all others are his subservient order carriers. Once upon a time, Lord Balrama had heard that an arrangement was being made for the fight between the two rival parties in the Kuru dynasty, one headed by Duryodhana and other by the Pandavas. He did not like the idea and he tried to act as a mediator to stop the fighting. Finding it impossible, not wishing to take an active part on behalf of either party, he left Dwaraka on the prayer of visiting various holy places of pilgrimage. He first of all visited the place of pilgrimage known as Prabhasha Kshetra. He took his bath there and he pacified the local Brahmanas and offered oblation to the demigods, Pitas, great sages, and people in general, in accordance with the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. That is the Vedic method of visiting holy places. After this, accompanied by some respectable Brahmana, he decided to visit different places on the bank of the river Saraswati. He gradually visited such places as Prithudaka, Bindusara, Tritakupa, Sudarshana Tirtha, Vishala Tirtha, Brahma Tirtha, and Chakra Tirtha. Besides these, he also visited all the holy places on the bank of the Saraswati river, running toward the east. After this, he visited all the principal holy places on the bank of the Yamuna and on the bank of the Ganges. Thus, he gradually came to the holy place known as Naimisaranya. Naimisaranya is still existing in India, and in ancient times, it was especially used for the meetings of great sages and saintly persons, with the aim of understanding the spiritual life and self-realization. When Lord Balrama visited that place, there was a great sacrifice being performed by a great assembly of the transcendentalists. Such meetings were planned to last thousands of years. When Lord Balrama arrived, all the participants in the meeting great sages, ascetics, brahmanas, and learned scholars immediately arose from their seats and welcomed him with great honor and respect. Some offered him respect by standing up and then paying obeisances. And those who were very elderly, great sages, and the brahmanas offered him blessing after standing up. After this formality, Lord Balarama was offered a suitable seat, and everyone present worshipped him. Everyone in the assembly stood up in the presence of Balarama because they knew him to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Education or learning means to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, although Lord Balarama appeared on the earth as a Kshatriya, all the Brahmanas and sages stood up because they knew who Lord Balarama was. Unfortunately, after being worshipped and seated in his place, Lord Balarama saw Krsna, the disciple of Vyasadeva, the literary incarnation of Godhead, still sitting on the Vyasasana. He had neither gotten up from his seat nor offered him respect because he was seated in the Vyasasana. He foolishly thought himself greater than the Lord. Therefore, he did not get down from his seat or bow down before the Lord. Lord Balarama then considered the history of the Romarshana. He was born in a Suta family or a mixed family, born of a Brahmana woman and a Kshatriya man. Therefore, although Romaharshana considered Balarama a Kshatriya, he should not have remained sitting on a higher seat. According to his position by birth, he should not even have accepted the higher sitting position because many learned Brahmanas and sages were present. Lord Balarama also observed that Romaharshana not only refused to come down from his exalted seat, but did not even stand up and offer his respects when Balramji entered the assembly. Lord Balarama did not like the audacity of Romaharshana and became very angry at him, declared from his seat, "This man Romaharshana is so impudent that he has accepted a higher seat than that of all the respectable Brahmanas present there, although he was born in a degraded Pratiloma family." When a person is seated on the Vyasasana, he does not generally have to stand to receive a particular person entering the assembly. But in this case, the situation was different because Lord Baladeva is not an ordinary human being. Therefore, although Romaharshana Sutta was voted to the Vyasasana by all the Brahmanas, he should have followed the behavior of the other learned sages and the Brahmanas present and should not have known that Lord Balarama is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Respects are always due him, even though such respect can be avoided in the case of an ordinary man. The appearance of Krishna and Balarama is especially meant for the re-establishment of the religious principle. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, the highest religious principle is to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam also confirmed that the topmost perfection of religion is to be engaged in the devotional service of the Lord.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Right? Savipumsam parodharmo yatho bhaktir adokshage ahetuki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. Right? The eternal occupation of every living entity is to render service under the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and such service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted in order to completely satisfy the self. Right? So, like when this Romaharshana, right? Romaharshana was actually he was appointed to give the what do you call to recite the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, right? But when Balaram entered the assembly in the Naimisharanya forest, all of them are assembled. Shaunakadi rishis, they're all assembled there, and Romaharshana Sutta is sitting in the Vyasasana to deliver Srimad Bhagavatam. At that time, Balaram comes into the Naimisharanya forest. But Romaharshana Sutta was so much intoxicated by false ego. Right? What did he do? He did not even offer obeisances to Balaram, who's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? So that's why it is said in my Bhagavad Gita, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Kavi Hastini Shuni Cheva Swapakacha Pandita Samadarshinaha. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne. When we are really blessed with transcendental knowledge, then we also have Vinaya. That means you also have humility. You also have the intelligence, the right intelligence to know how much respect we need to offer to which person. Right? The Supreme Personality of Godhead has come and he's sitting on the Vyasasana on a higher seat. Right? Although there are many Brahmanas and other sages who are also present at that assembly, but he not even get up to offer respects to Lord Balaram himself. So what did Lord Balaram do? Lord Balaram got very angry, right? That this person does not know the proper etiquette. What does he do? He immediately kills Romaharshana Sutta. And then what happens? Oh, then who will actually conduct the Bhagavata Saptaha? Right? He was supposed to give the Bhagavatam class. And then everybody unanimously requested his son. Right? That's how Sutta Goswami actually started narrating the Bhagavatam, because Sutta Goswami is one of the persons who were present along with Parikshit Maharaj in the assembly in the banks of the Ganges when Shukadev Goswami narrated Srimad Bhagavatam. So everybody totally agreed and said that now who will recite the Srimad Bhagavatam? Sutta Goswami will now recite the Srimad Bhagavatam in place of his father Romaharshana Sutta. So that's what we're going to see here. So that is what is very important, that we may have a lot of knowledge. We may be in the good books of all the people, but if you don't offer proper respect to the Vaishnavas, if you don't offer proper respect to the Lord, then everything is Shrama Evahi Kevalam. Everything is useless labor, like that. Okay, next, Karpavali Mataji, go ahead. When Lord Balaram saw that.
Thank you, Mataji. Mataji. When Lord Balarama saw that Romaharshana Sutta did not understand the highest principle of religion, in spite of his having studied all the Vedas, he certainly could not support his position. Romaharshana Sutta had been given the chance to become a perfect Brahmana, but because of his ill behavior in his relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his low birth was immediately remembered. Romaharshana Sutta had been given the position of a Brahmana, but he had not been born in the family of a Brahmana. He had been born in a Pratiloma family. According to the Vedic concept, there are two kinds of mixed family heritage called Anuloma and Pratiloma. When a male is united with a female of a lower caste, the offspring is called Anuloma. But when a male unites with a woman of a higher caste, the offspring is called Pratiloma. Romaharshana Sudha belonged to a Pratiloma family because his father was a Kshatriya and his mother was a Brahmana. Because Romaharshana's transcendental realization was not perfect, Lord Balarama remembered his Pratiloma heritage. The idea is that any man may be given the chance to become a Brahmana, but if he improperly uses the position of a Brahmana without actual realization, then his elevation to the Brahminical position is not valid. After seeing the deficiency of realization in Romaharshana Sutta, Lord Balrama decided to chastise him for being puffed up. Lord Balrama therefore said, "This man is liable to be awarded death punishment because although he has a good qualification of being the disciple of Lord Vyasadeva, and although he has studied all the Vedic literature from this exalted personality, he was not submissive in the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, a person who is actually a Brahmana and is very learned might automatically become very gentle also. But although Somahashna Sudha was very learned and had been given the chance to become a Brahmana, he had not become gentle. From this, we can understand that one who is puffed up by material acquisitions cannot acquire the gentle behavior befitting a Brahmana. That the learning of such a person is as good as a valuable jewel decorating the hood of a serpent. Despite the valuable jewel on the hood, the serpent is still a serpent and is as fearful as an ordinary serpent. If a person does not become meek and humble, all his studies of the Vedas and Puranas and his vast knowledge of the Shastras are simply outward dress like that of the costume of a theatrical artist dancing on the stage. Lord Balarama considered, I have appeared in order to chastise false persons who are eternally impure but externally pose themselves as very learned and religious. My killing of such persons is proper to check them from the further sinful activities. Lord Balarama had avoided taking part in the battle of Kurukshetra, and yet because of his position as an the re-establishment of the religious principle was his prime duty. Considering these points, He killed Ramaharshana simply by striking him with the kusha straw, which was nothing but a blade of grass. If someone questions how Balarama could kill Ramaharshana simply by striking him with a blade or kusha grass, the answer is given in Srimad Bhagavatam by use of the word Prabhu, Master. The Lord's position is always transcendental, and because he is omnipotent, he can act as he likes without being obliged to follow the material laws and principles. Thus, it was possible for him to kill Romaharshanasudha simply by striking him with a blade of kusha grass. At the time, at the death of Romaharshanasudha, everyone present became much aggrieved and cried, Alas, alas, although, alas, the Brahmanas and the sages present knew Lord Balrama to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they did not hesitate to protest the Lord's action. They humbly submitted, Our dear Lord, we think that your action is not in line with the religious principle. Dear Lord Yadunandana, we may inform you that we Brahmanas posted Romaharshana Sudha on that exalted position for the duration of this great sacrifice. He was seated on the Vyasasana by our election, and when one is seated on the Vyasasana, it is improper for him to stand up to receive a person. Moreover, he be awarded Romaharshana Sudha an undisturbed duration of life. Under the circumstances, since your lordship has killed him without knowing all these facts, we think that your action is equal to killing a Brahmana. Dear Lord, deliverer of all fallen souls, we know for certain that you are the knower of all Vedic principles. You are the master of all mystic powers. Therefore, the Vedic injunctions cannot ordinarily be applied to you, but we respectfully advise you to show your causeless mercy upon others by kindly atoning for this killing of Ramashna Sudha. We do not, however, suggest that what kind of act you should perform to atone for killing him. We simply suggest that you adopt some method of atonement so that others may follow your action. What is done by great personality is followed by the ordinary man. The Lord replied, Yes, I must atone for this action which may have been proper for me, but is improper for others. Therefore, I think it is my duty to execute suitable act of atonement enjoined in the authorized scriptures. Simultaneously, I can also give this Omahashna Sudha life again with the span of short duration, sufficient strength, and full power of the senses. Not only this, but if you desire, I shall be glad to award him anything else you may ask. I shall be very glad to grant all these moons to fulfill your desires. This statement by Lord Balarama definitely confirms that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is free to act in any way. Although this killing of Ramahashna Sudha may be considered improper, he could immediately contract it with greater profit to all. Therefore, one should not imitate the actions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should simply follow the instructions of the Lord. All the great learned sages present, they realized that although they considered the action of Lord Balaram as improper, the Lord was immediately able to compensate with greater profits, not wanting to detract from the mission of the Lord in killing Ramashna Sudha. All of them prayed, Our dear Lord, the uncommon use of your kusa weapon to kill Ramashna Sudha may remain as it is, because you decide to kill him. He should not be brought to life again. At the same time, your lordship may remember that we sages and Brahmanas voluntarily gave him long life, because therefore such a benediction should not be nullified. Thus, I request that all the learned Brahmanas in the assembly was ambiguous, because they wanted to keep intact with their benediction that Ramashna Sudha would continue to live until the end of the great sacrifice. But at the same time, they did not want to nullify Balarama's killing him. The Supreme Personality of Godhead therefore solved the problem in a
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mother. Dandavat Pranam. So, see, we here, what we see is, this is called a gray situation. It's not completely wrong, and it's not completely correct, right? So, in this case, what we have to do, we have to take higher guidance, right? Sutta Goswami, Roma Harshana Sutta was right, because the protocol is that you should not get up from the Vyasasana, especially when you've been designated to give a class. Right? So he's designated to give the Srimad Bhagavatam class. He's sitting on the Vyasasana. He saw Balaram coming. So since he was learned in the scriptures, he thought it was not necessary. Right? But Balaram thought that, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I'm coming here and he's not offering respect to me. Right? So if I don't punish him, then he will be committing more and more offenses. So in that way, in a positive attitude, taking into account the benefit of Romaharshana Sutta, what did Balaram do? Balaram picked up a kusha grass, threw it at Romaharshana Sutta, and he fell down dead. Now the Brahmanas were sitting in the Naimisharanya forest. They're all thinking that Romaharshana Sutta was correct, because as per the scriptures, you're not supposed to get up from the Vyasasana to offer respects. But Lord Balaram also cannot be wrong. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they were in a dilemma what to do. So he asked Balaram only. And Balaram told, I will do according to what the sages are saying. Right? If you all want me to bring Romaharshana Sutta back to life, because he had been blessed with a long life, then Balaram said, I can do it, because the Lord can do anything. Right? What is that? Rake Krishna Mare Krishna Rake. If Balaram wants to protect someone, even though he has killed him, he can bring him back to life. Right? That's a power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But the sages told that, since Balaramji, you have killed him and you have killed his life, we don't want you to go back and give him life again. Right? And what did they do? They suggested that his son, Suta Goswami, who's the son of Romaharshana Sutta, this benediction can be transferred from the father to the son. So in this way, Suta Goswami would actually be eligible now, or qualified now, or would be requested now to give the Srimad Bhagavatam class. And that's how Suta Goswami narrated the Srimad Bhagavatam to the sages assembled at the Naimisharanya forest. He was qualified. Why? Because he heard from his guru. Shukadeva Goswami is present there. Right? It's not that suddenly, a Brahma Bandhu, right, or a person who's born in a Brahminical family was asked. No. Right? Suta Goswami had heard it from Shukadeva Goswami, and he was well versed with Srimad Bhagavatam, and hence he was qualified to give the Srimad Bhagavatam class when Romaharshana Sutta was actually killed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, now let's see what happens next. Okay, who wants to read? Somebody who's not read before wants to read? You can raise your hand. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, therefore, solved the problem in a manner befitting his exalted position. Okay, Nagamani Mataji, go ahead. Please unmute Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Oh, Hari Bol.
Yes,
Hare
ma'am.
Krishna.
Yes,
Dandavat
you're
Pranam,
on.
Mataji.
Dandavat Pranam. Yes, ma'am. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, therefore, solved the
The
problem.
Supreme Personality of Godhead, therefore, solved the problem in a excited position.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, therefore, solved the problem in a manner befitting his exalted position.
Oh,
He said,
sorry. वो या मोबाइल पे वो हो गया था माताजी, स्क्रॉल करना पड़ता है. तो the Supreme Personality of Godhead, therefore, solved the problem in a manner defeating
it's okay.
his
I think it's difficult for you
exalted.
to read. It's okay. It's okay. From the mobile, it may be difficult for you to read. If you have the book, you can raise your hand and you can read. Okay, Mataji. Okay, Harjeet Mataji can read. Yes, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Mataji Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead therefore solved the problem in a manner befitting his exalted position. He said, because the son is produced from the body of the father, the Vedas enjoin that the son is the father's representative. Therefore, I say that the Ugrasarva Sutta, the son of Romaharshana Sutta, therefore henceforth take his father's position and continue the discourses of the on the Puranas. And because you wanted Romaharsana to have a long duration of life, this benediction will be transferred to his son. The son Ugrasarva will therefore have all the facilities you offered. A long duration of life in a good and healthy body with no disturbances and full strength of all the senses. Lord Balrama then implored all the sages and Brahmana that aside from the benediction offered to the son of Romaharsana, they should ask from him any other benediction, and he would be prepared to fulfill it immediately. The Lord thus placed himself in the position of an ordinary Kshatriya and informed the sages that he did not know the, in what way he could atone for his killing of Romaharsana. But whatever they would suggest, he would be glad to accept. The Brahmanas could understand the purpose of the Lord and thus suggested uh, thus they suggested that he atone in a manner beneficial to them. They said, "Our dear Lord, there is a very powerful demon of the name Balvala. He is the son of
Ilvala.
Ilvala, and he visits this sacred place of the sacrifice every fortnight on the full moon and moonless days and creates a great disturbance to the discharge of our duties in the sacrifice. O descendant of the Dasara family, we all request you to kill this demon. We think that if you kindly kill him, that will be your atonement on our behalf. The demon occasionally comes here and profusely throws upon us contaminated, impure things like pus, blood, stool, urine, and wine. He pollutes this sacred place by showering such filth upon us. After killing Balawala, you may continue touring all the sacred places of pilgrimage for 12 months. And in that way, you will be completely freed from all contamination. That is your that is our prescription. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 78th chapter of Krishna killing of Dantavakra, Vidura, and Romaharshana. Hare Krishna
Hare
Mataji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So in this way, we've seen how Krishna kills all the demons, and Balaram actually kills Romaharshana. Right? Why? Because he was not offering respects to the Supreme Lord, and then there was a little dilemma because he was sitting on the Vyasasana. It is not required for him to get up and offer obeisances. But yet, Balaramji became so humble. Balaramji actually told the sages and the Brahmanas that whatever atonement you want me to do, I will do it. And the sages and the Brahmanas actually suggested that Balaram should kill that demon who is actually causing a lot of disturbance in the sacrifices they are performing, Balvala, right? And in this way, it will be an atonement for Balaramji. And the benediction that was given to Romaharshana Sutta passed on to his son, who is Sutta Goswami, and he actually narrated Srimad Bhagavatam to the sages of the Naimisharanya forest. So like that, chapter number 78 ends, and next we are talking about chapter number 79, the liberation of Balvala, right? How Balaram kills Balvala and the Lord Balaram touring to the sacred places. All right, we have about 10 minutes. Let's read then. Start the next chapter, chapter number 79. This is the liberation of Balvala and the Lord Balaram's touring the sacred places. Okay, Rajneesh Prabhu, go ahead. Lord Balaram prepared himself.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandava Pranam.
Dandava Pranam.
Lord Balram prepared himself to meet the demon Balvala. At the time when the demon usually attacked the sacred place, there appeared a great hailstorm. The whole sky became covered with dust and the atmosphere became surcharged with a filthy smell. Just after this, the mischievous demon Balvala began to shower torrents of stool and urine and other impure substances on the arena of sacrifice. After this onslaught, the demon himself appeared with a great trident in his hand. He was a genetic person, and his black body was like a huge mass of carbon. His hair, his beard, and his muscles, his mustache appeared reddish like copper, and because of his great beard and mustache, his mouth appeared dangerous and fierce. As soon as he saw the demon, Lord Balaram prepared to attack him. He first considered how he could smash the great demon to pieces. Lord Balaram then called for his plough and club and they immediately appeared before him. The demon Balbala was flying in the sky, and at the first opportunity, Lord Balaram dragged him down with his plow and angrily smashed the demon's head with his club. Balaram's striking fractured the demon's forehead, making blood flow profusely. Screaming loudly, the demon, who had been such a great disturbance to the pious Brahmins, fell to the ground like a great mountain with a red oxide peak, being struck and smashed to the ground by a thunderbolt. The inhabitants of the Naimisharanya, learned sages and Brahmins became most pleased by seeing this, and they offered their respectful prayers to Lord Balaram. They offered their heartful blessings to the Lord, and all agreed that none of the Lord Balaram's attempts to do something would ever be a failure. The sages and Brahmins then performed a ceremonial bathing of Lord Balaram, just as demigods bathe King Indra when he is victorious over the demons. The Brahmins and sages honored Lord Balaram by presenting him with his with the first class new clothing and ornaments and the lotus garland of victory. This garland was the reservoir of all beauty and was everlasting. It was never to be dried up. After this incident, Lord Balaram took the permission from Brahmins assembled at Naimisharanya and, accompanied by other Brahmins, went to the bank of the river Kaushiki. After taking his bath in this holy place, he proceeded towards the river Saryu and visited the source of the river. Traveling on the bank of Saryu river, he gradually reached Prayag, where there is a confluence of three rivers, the Ganges, Yamuna, and Saraswati. Here also he took his bath and then worshipped. He worshipped in the local temples of the demigods and enjoyed the Vedic literature, offered oblations to forefathers and sages. He gradually reached the ashram of the sage Pulaha and from there went to rivers Gandaki and Gomti. After this, he took his bath in the river Bipasa. Then he gradually came to the bank of Son River. The Son River is still running as one of the big rivers in Bihar province. He also took his bath there and performed the very ritualistic ceremonies. He continued his travel and gradually came to the pilgrimage city of Gaya, where there is a celebrated Vishnu temple. According to the advice of his father Vasudev, he offered oblations to the forefathers in this Vishnu temple. From here, he traveled to the delta of Ganges, where the sacred river Ganges mixes with the Bay of Bengal. This sacred place is called Ganga Sagar, and at the end of January every year, there is still a great assembly of saintly persons and pious men, just as there is an assembly of saintly persons in Prayag every year called Magh Mela Fair.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So this
Hare
is very
Krishna,
wonderful. That it's very wonderful. We are actually reading about this Magh Mela, right, at Prayagraj, which is now going on, right? Most of the devotees, His Grace Gauranga Prabhu is actually arranging for the prasadam, right? They are cooking and so many quantities for all the devotees who are visiting Prayagraj, right? Even Srila Prabhupada used to visit Prayagraj, and this place is where the confluence of Ganga, Jamuna, and Saraswati, right? I believe, on the Amavasya day, the last the week of 27th of February. So until then, devotees are going there regularly, to take a bath in the confluence of Ganges, Yamuna, and Saraswati. This Prayagraj is said to be very, very auspicious, right? Even Narendra Modi ji was there, right? So like that, it's very auspicious that we are talking about this particular event, right? During the time when it is actually happening, right? Where Balaramji actually went to Prayagraj. He took his bath there and he worshipped in the local temples of the demigods. Then he proceeded to river Sarayu and visited the source of the river, etc. Right? So in this way, the delta of the Ganges, right? That's also called Ganga Sagara, right? The place where the Ganges actually mixes with the Bay of Bengal. That's what Prabhupada explains here. The sacred place is called Ganga Sagar, right? And Prabhupada says at the end of January, there is a great assembly of saintly persons, which are actually happening now, right? They started off from mid-January itself, right? Where ISKCON is actually distributing wonderful Krishna Prasadam, and there is a great assembly of saintly persons and pious men, right? And devotees are thronging, many Maharajas, right? I know His Holiness Bhakti Vijay Bhagavat Swami Maharaj is also distributing Bhagavad Gitas, right? And even in ISKCON Mira Road Temple, when we actually did Shastradan, right? They also informed us that, these Bhagavad Gitas for which Shastradan was done by all of our devotees, right? This Shastradan will be utilized for distribution of Bhagavad Gita during the Kumbh Mela in Prayagraj. So, it is wonderful that we are actually studying this part of this Krishna book. When this Magha Mela or the Kumbh Mela at Prayagraj is actually happening right now. Right? Kumbh Mela Mahamahotsava ki jai. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada book distribution marathon Mahamahotsava ki jai. And also we can see that some of the photographs of Srila Prabhupada himself took Snan and Prayagraj is also floating around. So this is the time when all of these wonderful Magha Mas Mela and also the Kumbh Mela as it's called is just happening right now. We are so fortunate. It is the mercy of the Lord that we are studying these pastimes on this auspicious month when the pastime is actually happening in Prayagraj, right? So thank you very much for joining in. Moshmi Mataji, Nagavani Mataji, you can please join in and read tomorrow. We have just exhausted them. Today we started at 12:30. So we will, and from tomorrow onwards, we will study at 12 o'clock, right? We have the study session from 12 to 1 p.m. Indian Standard Time. So please do join us at 12 p.m. Indian Standard Time for the continuation of our Krishna book study tomorrow onwards. And of course, we will do our Brahma Muhurta chanting session at 5 a.m. in the morning. So thank you very much for joining in. And today, some of the devotees joined a little late. I believe you all did not see the message, but we announced it in the morning program itself. During the Brahma Muhurta program, we also shared a message in the groups, right? So from tomorrow, we will have it from 12 to 1 p.m. Indian Standard Time. All right. Hare Krishna. We'll do Harinam Sankirtan. Also request devotees switch on your cameras. And then when we'll have darshan of the devotees, and then we'll end our session. Namma Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Asatyadeeshadarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Gauranitai Jai Jai Jagannath Jai Baladev Jai Subhadra Jai Sudarshan Jai Balagopal Jai Rukmini Vitthal Jai Radha Krishna Jai Radhe Radhe Jai Radhe Radhe Jai Radhe Radhe Jai Shri Radhe Jai Sadgoswami Jai Guru Parampara Jai Prabhupada Jai Guru Deva Nitai Go Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Kali Kavita Bhavan Harinama Sankirtan Maha Mahotsava ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much, dear devotees. And also today is the auspicious occasion of appearance of Narottam Das Thakur and Krishna Madhura Utsav. So we can sing Madhurashtakam, we can sing Radha Krishna Prana Mora Jugala Kishore, where Narottam Das Thakur is singing about what should be our mood in serving Shri Shri Radha Krishna. So we'll sing those songs and we will post in the festival group. So devotees who are interested can join the celebration group, and we will also can join in the singing of the wonderful songs written by Narottam Das Thakur. The songs written by Narottam Das Thakur actually contain the entire essence of Krishna consciousness. What should be the mood of a devotee? What should be the attitude of a devotee? What should be the goal of a devotee? What should be the mood of a devotee? Everything is contained in these wonderful songs by Narottam Das Thakur, for whom Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself had deposited Krishna Prema with Padmavati Devi, the goddess of Padma river. So on the auspicious day, we can sing the bhajans of Narottam Das Thakur, we can sing the glories, we can read the pastimes of Narottam Das Thakur, right? And in this way, we can pray to Narottam Das Thakur that may our desire be only to serve, satisfy and please Guru and Gauranga. Hare Krishna. So let's take a quick vote. From tomorrow onwards, should we have the session at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, right? Either from 11 to 12 or 12 to 1. So for 11 to 12, do a virtual raise of hands. We always do this whenever there is devotees request for change of timings, we do this. So 11 to 12, who are all okay? Yeah, we will do that. Yeah, but yeah, so I mean, sandwich program we will definitely have. That's in the cards. But let's have a show of hands. We have 11 to 12. How many people are okay for 11 to 12? Okay, only one hand up. Okay, 12 to 1. Okay, maximum for 12 to 1. Okay, fine. Rajeshwari, Raji Mataji, Anuradha Leela Mataji. Okay, Sarvagopisha Mataji. All right. Okay, so 11 o'clock doesn't seem to be fitting your schedules. All right, so let's keep it 12 to 1 and we'll see how it goes. Thank you very much. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So thank you, Rajeshwari, Rajiv Mataji, Hema Mataji, Chitra Mataji, and all the devotees for your wonderful darshan. Moshmi Mataji, Shobha Mataji, Harjit Mataji, Anusha Mataji, Sarvagopeshwari Mataji, Katpagauli Mataji, Rajneesh Prabhu, Pallavi Mataji. Thank you very much for joining in. So we meet at 12 o'clock from tomorrow for the study of Krishna book. And we meet at our regular time of 5 o'clock for the Brahma Murta chanting session. Thank you very much. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.